Hi, good morning again. Uh, I hope you had some knowledge with my previous lecture, in which lecture I spoke about some historical perspective of Indian landscape. In that lecture, I talked about how in history we have been using the Charbagh landscape pattern and some other examples. And I also spoke about a Sabarmati Riverfront project, which is a very good combination of the new landscape design pattern in India on a city scale and also keeping the ethos of historical aspect of city. In this part of my lecture, I'm going to talk about some important aspect about Indian landscape where I'll be speaking about what kind of a commonly used landscape elements which are being used in Indian landscape design practice. As you can see, the cover page of this slide about this image is about some forest part of India. As you see in the landscape, as your professor have might have told you about the landscape consists a soft part of landscape and hard part of landscape. So when you talk about soft part of a landscape, which talks about green, grass, water, this natural element. Sometimes the natural element are already present on the site. Sometimes it is also used a new intervention in the landscape. And in any part of a soft landscape, the green is a very important element. When I'm talking about green, I'm mainly talking about vegetation point of view. So in this lecture, I'll be talking about what kind of vegetations are available in landscape and what kind of practices were commonly used in for selection of vegetation in Indian landscape system. And also, it's important to note that green landscape or soft landscape part, the vegetation is an important element, and the vegetation varies from one region to another region of any given part of the world, whether you talk about hilly area, whether you talk flat land, whether you talk wetland. So the vegetations are actually varying from one part to another part depending on the land condition. So in this part, actually, I will be talking about climatic zones of India and what kind of a vegetation which are commonly used. So this is the map of India. Here you can see how the different climate zones of India is available in many part of India. Here you can see mainly in this part, yellowish part, which is this is a Delhi, and so here in mainly in this northern part of India, it's very composite climate. So here in this part, which is more close to you know this western part of India, it's very hot and dry. This is here is a you can see Pakistan, and here there is a China. Yeah. And so the border which are more close to Pakistan side, so this um, hot and dry climate, and also this is composite climate. So this belt is you can see the bordering Pakistan part, and this area which is more bordering to China and that part of the world which is composite thing. And here you can see the red part, which is the maximum region of India, here is hot and humid. So you can see the major part of India, which is in red. Here, the climate zones are hot and humid. Here, which is a more North India and some part of a Central India, it's a composite climate. And here, this is more toward west, and some part of us Central India is hot and dry. And then there is some region which are cold. Here, this is Kashmir, which is a uh, very cold climate. Here you can see, you can find snowfall and uh, lot many part of this northern part, which is the top of India map. It's mainly cold climate, and some of the reason which are very small part. These are moderate climate throughout the year. But importantly, there is also a thing that in this hot and humid whole part of hot and humid region, you can see these some small blue dot. So surprisingly, these blue dots are cold. Here you can see this blue dot within the hot and humid region. These blue dots are a cold region. So these are natural wonders. There is also a very small blue dot here, which is also cold. But why the major part of India, which is marked in red color, are hot and humid? Because India is covered by sea in all the three parts. So the sea runs from here to here and here to here. So that is the reason why this region is actually hot and humid, because of the surrounding sea, Arabian Sea and Pacific Ocean. So this is Sri Lanka, and why there is a hot and humid and composite climate in this region, because there is no sea here. Here there is a Pakistan, and there is a China region, and this part is actually a country called Nepal. So that was a different climatic zone of India. And by the way, this is also part of India. And it's called Andaman and Nicobar Deep, which is again is an island region. So you have all the sea around, and in this part, which is a part of Indian territory, also that's also hot and humid. So how India is, I mean, as I was telling you, in the previous slide, this is a cold region, and this is composite, and this is hot and dry. So you can see in India, in any given time in the year, you will see at one part, you will see snow falling, one part, such a nice weather is throughout the year, and some part is extremely hot. Extremely hot means, like, the temperature can go even 45 to 50 degrees centigrade also. So here you can see at uh, at same time of the year, one part is having a snow and one part is facing a temperature of 46 degrees centigrade. By the way, the region where I live, which is New Delhi, these days the temperature are going 42 and 43 degrees centigrade. And this temperature will keep on increasing, and it may go to 48, or even for that matter 50 degrees centigrade by next month. So the hottest period in the northern part of India is from last week of April month to mid or last week of June month. So we are at the end of April month. We are at the end of May month, and right now the temperature is 41, 42 degrees centigrade, and this temperature will go on till 48 or 50. At this time, the temperature in Rajasthan region, which is more closer to Pakistan, border, the temperature is at the moment is 46 degrees centigrade. So the temperature in this part may go 50 plus centigrade also. So that is the beauty of Indian landscape, where maximum cold is also there and maximum heat is also there. So talking about vegetation, as you might have seen in my previous slide, the the climate zones are different in different regions. So here you can see these are mainly the vegetations in a different climate zone. As you can see in this very thin line, you can see the map of India, and these are vegetation map of India. You can see cold here, the snow-clad mountain, and you can see desert also here. You can also see the flatland. You can also see the hilly area. You can see the sea area. So these are a natural beauty. I mean, these are naturally grown vegetations in a different climate zone. So talking about a natural vegetation in India, you can see a tropical thorny vegetations. So this is the reason which is a tropical happens, and then you can see alpine and subalpine, which is more in a colder region of India, which is on the top of Indian map. That's Kashmir and region. So this is in this part, and here you can see subtropical also. So these are the central part of India and some part of northern India also. And these are Himalayan most Himalayan most temperature. So these are Himalayas. So in India, you might have read in your historical books that Himalaya is one of the very important hill. I mean, it's a mountain regions in India, which is mainly running in the northern part of India. So this is Himalayan range, and so then the vegetation is along the Himalayas are different than any part of India. So what type of vegetations are there in India? So tropical evergreen forest, tropical deciduous forest, tropical thorn forest and stubs, montane forest and mangrove forest. So these are type of vegetations in all part of India. And so in this slide, I am mainly talking about what are the commonly used plantation and vegetation in Indian landscape. As I was telling you in the beginning of this part of lecture, that landscape has a two element, hard landscape and soft landscape. Hard landscapes are generally the landscape which is the character of a land, the character of a site, whether it's a hilly area or whether it's a wet area or whether it's a plain area. So these sites are also, a determining factor for hard landscape. So there is not much to do, much intervention you can do in the hard landscape, like the stone and this concrete, which is part of a building, and then talking about soft landscape. Now the soft landscape are also of two parts. One soft landscape which is already present. If by the way, if you can see in backdrop of my screen, this is all you can see natural vegetations and all. Many times the natural vegetations are naturally available on the site. Many times you intervene in the site and you plant the natural vegetation and plantation. That became a part of your soft landscape. So when designing of a soft landscape, you are actually either using the already available natural vegetations or your plantation, or whether you introduce a new plantation. So in this part of my lecture, I'm discussing about what are the plantation and vegetation which are commonly used as a intervention, as additions by our landscape designers. So one is a very important landscape element which is being added in as a part of a soft landscape. It's called devil's backbone. So these are devil's backbone. The botanical name which is mentioned is Euporphia malodius, and these devil's backbone does best in a warm climates and produce flower when it's get plenty of sunlight and blooms actually modified leaves. These can be pink, red, white, or green. So this devil's backbone is generally used as an outside plantation. So when outside plantation, depending on sunlight, these blooms, flowers also and leaves also. And these are, sometimes you can see in the, the home garden, or sometimes you can see in the courtyard, or sometimes you can see in the farmhouses kind of a site where these things are there. So these things are actually used for the domestic purpose on as a outside design of landscape. The second type is a botanical name called rosa. So this is called rose bush. So here, this is a rose is very beautiful, and it gives flowers which are very, very, very nice, and is mainly used in many part of a garden in Indian domestic purpose, and also in the public parks also. And so the rose can be of different type of colors all over world, but in India mainly the rose is mainly in red color, or this kind of a pinkish red color. So the color, beauty, and fragrance of a rose bushes are must have for garden landscaping. So in India, it is said that any landscaping without the rose is incomplete. So any of the garden landscaping, the rose is the important element. So plant them in a different colors in a group for a fantastic display. So when you plant a rose in your garden, it gives a great display of your landscape. As you see, the rose is also the symbol of love, and also the symbol of a good friendship. So the rose as a landscape pattern of any of the building or any of the site or any of the public spaces are symbolic of love and affection. Then the second kind of plantation is hydrangea, and the botanical name is hydrangea itself. And this is not very commonly used in a house or in a domestic purpose, but it's mainly used in park or in a public spaces. So this flower is more popular due to their large flower that blooms in blue, purple, pink, and white colors. They bloom through summer till early winter. So as I was saying, that these are not very commonly used plantation because it has a very less life. This goes from summer till early winter. So that means April or May month to, let's say, September, October month. So that means it's a half year, it is a flowery, and half year is without flower. So these can be used as a green path. I mean, on the street and on the park, and it goes along the path. Then white hazel. White hazel is a more like a this uh, bushes kind of a landscape, and it expand a lot. So that's why this is commonly used in many public spaces like a park or garden, or maybe along the street on a median path, and their botanical name is Hamamelis. So here the witch hazel is reasonably drought resistance and resistance to many pests and diseases. So these plants are actually used as a anti-pest or anti-disease. Pest means basically, these insects and, some kind of, this harmful, insects and, this a small like ants or, these kind of insects which are harmful. So these flowers also act as a resistance to those pest and disease. And these attributes makes it great a low maintenance and shrubs for garden-scaping. It also blooms fragrant and yellow flower. So as I was saying, this goes in a shrub category, and it's also blooms. And as I was saying, that it expands a lot. So that's why it gives a great look of the site, and it also has a yellow flowers. So that makes a very colorful vibrance of the landscape. So this is another very important element. This goes along the boundary walls or along the pathways of landscape site. So Arbovitae. So that means here the botanical name is Thuja. So Arbovitae is a Latin term which translates to trees of life, and it grows upright and has a dense foliage, and it's a quite hardy and has a faster growth rate rather other than other shrubs. So this goes vertically. In the previous case, it was expanding horizontally. In this case, it goes vertically, and also have a the wider foliage. So that makes a great, and it has a less maintenance. So this doesn't require much of the water body or the watering. Here you can see these are small stone pebbles, and so this doesn't require much of a water every day. It grows vertically, and it also has a lot of the foliage, so it covers the wider part of site. So that's why it is mainly used either along the boundary wall of the site or along the pathways. So that makes a kind of the directions giving landscape pattern in many of the sites. So this is another type of shrub. It's called Chinese juniper. Their botanical name is Juniperus chinensis. So juniper is aromatic, is evergreen and low maintenance shrub. Though it can attain a good height, it can be kept under control with a regular pruning. It does well in a bright sunlight. So as I was saying that the shrub is aromatic and it's evergreen. When I'm saying evergreen means it can bloom throughout the year. So that is the reason why this is very commonly used in many of the parts where the public spaces where there is a requirement of the look of a more green. So that's why it expands more and it required less maintenance. So that's also very important, because when you plan a landscape in any part of the world, so the important aspect is the maintenance. So these are some of the plantation which are used as a less maintenance soft landscape, which required less water, but it required a lot of sunlight. So that means this is mainly used in outside of any building or any public spaces. So this is one of the very, very important, and you can see that none of the landscape in any domestic houses are complete without this boxwood plantation. So this boxwood plantation is, the botanical name is Buxus. This evergreen shrub is a very versatile and it can be pruned into desired shape. Prune means, the cutting and, this trimming of this landscape and trimming of the shrub. And it can attain any shape you want to. Here, this is a linear and this is the box type. You can get any kind of a shape. You can make it a, the linear, you can make it a horizontal, or you can make it a, any curved shape also, any kind of a shape. So that is also the reason why this boxwood type of a plantation is a very, very important plantation, which you will see in every, almost every plantations and a landscape of mainly in domestic purpose and in a park area. These are not in used for public areas like a street and areas which are more transport and more unorganized traffic are there, but these are mainly for the places which are organized traffic, mainly used in either in domestic purposes or in houses or in farmhouses or in any public garden or in any hotel's garden and all, where the controlled traffic of human movement is there. This is versatile and it, as I said, it can print into any desired shape. Its glossy dark green leaves grow opposite to each other and are almost round in the shape. So the leaf are almost round in the shape. So this is, by the way, so this grows in opposite direction. That means very regular maintenance is required. You have to cut the leaves almost every 15 days or 20 days so that the shape is not changed. Here you can see that there are some leaves which are growing in a different direction. So, the regular trimming and regular cutting of the leaves are required to keep the shape of this box as it is. Lilac. Lilac is one of these, type of a shrub which is mainly used in a public parks, and it required, the less maintenance also, and it grows very, very fast. Its botanical name is Stringa, and it's a very easy to grow shrub that is resistant to majority of pest. When I'm, in the earlier case also in the Chinese plant, that was also the pest resistance. So many times what happened is that these kind of a plants are used in the park where there is a less pest, any kind of a termite or any kind of, the mosquitoes or, these kind of, mosquitoes or pest resistance plantations are used for public spaces where the people sit and the people relax. So that is the reason why this kind of a shrub is commonly used, and it has also the advantage is that it also has a flower, so that makes also the space a more beautiful looking, and the plant does well in sun and well draining soil. So that means this plant is requiring a regular sun. So when you are having a regular sun, that means you need to make it outside, and it is also required well draining soil. That means the soil which has regular water. So that is also very important aspect to consider, that in this you need to have a regular water. Regular water, that doesn't mean that you have to water and you have to give the water every time. So the natural water along the land is sufficient, but that means that there should not be the water logging in this plantation. So well drained is like the water is flowing along the soil, but it is not resting. So if you have a resting water, that means water logging. So this plant may not do well. Barberry it is another type of shrubs where the botanical name is barberries, and it's commonly used as a hedge or a privacy fence because of the uniform growth pattern and adaptability. So that again are used as a fence. So it is, that means it's mainly used as a bordering of two reasons. So maybe along the road and the house, or maybe in the part from one part to another part. So this works as a fence. Moreover, it can be used to create a beautiful background for a flower bed. So that also becomes like the background for the flower bed. So, and since it's a shrub, so it doesn't require much of maintenance. So and it is also grows horizontally also. So that becomes the fencing of the water flower bed. Yucca. Yucca is also very importantly used in inside and outside both. And it is botanical name is yucca. Is evergreen. That means it grows anytime in the year. It drought tolerant. It can resist water. It's a perennial shrub, and it has a unique sword-like a leaves which helps and diversity to any garden. So here, this is a very, the unique, very sharp edge leaves that makes a very different character to the landscape and to the green part of soft landscape. And so it's an excellent option for creating a landscape design. So that makes a combination of this flowery and non-flowery green plantations. Okay, so this is my last plantation, which is, and there is a very important reason why I use this plantation. As you might have seen in my previous presentation, the landscape pattern and the religion goes parallel. And India being a very religious country, so this holy basil, which is a tulsi plant, is considered to be a very auspicious plant in India. Every house in India, especially in the Hindu mythology, these kind of plants are very common, and it is a kind of a plant which there is a belief that it brings prosperity, and it brings the god in the house. So their botanical name is Ocimum tenuiformis, and is commonly known as a holy basil, tulsi or tulsi, and tamole. Damole, and there are different names in a different part of the India, and also the Indians living abroad also. So this tulsi leaf, or you can say the basil leaf, is a kind of a religious symbolism. Many times when we give gift to some friend or some family, we also give this as a small plant for their house, so that it can grow in their house. And it is a native of the Indian subcontinent and widespread as a cultivated plant throughout the Southeast Asian tropic. So this tulsi plant is not only used in India, it is also used in many Asian tropics. And especially this has a very important place in the Hindu mythology. And none of house in India you will see without a tulsi plant, especially in Hindu mythology. And this tulsi plant has a lot of herbal medicinal character also. You can have this is as a tulsi is also used as antibacterial activities also. Tulsi is also for the healing of immunity boosting also. Many times this plantation, the leaf, we also use in our tea and in our food also. So this is also potential antioxidant also, and it's a high level of antibacterial properties also, and it is also at macrobial activities at the cell level also. So the plantation is religious element also, and it is also medicinal also, and it is also the healthy also to eat it also, and at the same time it is one of the very important element of Indian landscape. mainly in domestic purpose. One thing that's also very important to use these kind of a tulsi plantation you will not see in a public spaces because these are religious. It needs a special caring. So that is why this plantation you will see as a commonly used plantation in domestic purpose, mainly in houses or in personal farmhouses. So this was my second part of a lecture. Here I talked about the different tropical climate of India, which are very important for everyone to understand that what kind of a climate required for uh, soft landscape to grow. So in this image, as you can see, it's a very beautiful combination of a hard landscape and soft landscape and building. So here you can see this is a hard landscape which defines the path, and this is the soft landscape which is a green. And here you can see plantation. And again, as I said in my previous presentation, also that the landscape and building complement each other. So this is one of the images which is very close to my heart and is the project which I really loved, and it has a very unique message of the marriage between hard, soft, green, open, semi-open. Here you can see this is the open area and this is a semi-open and this is the closing. So thank you so much. This is end of my second part of a presentation. I'll come back again for third and fourth subsequent part. Thank you, sir.